A billion people are watching podcasts on YouTube, and this is an article that was just published on Bloomberg. We obviously are huge proponents of podcasting. What does this article being published mean for your brand?
The main takeaways in my mind are, number one, YouTube has overtaken Spotify as the main consumption place for podcasts, and having video associated with your podcast is mandatory. If you're doing an audio-only podcast, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to connect where a lot of people, the majority of people, are consuming their podcasts, and people want to see your expressions, your conversations. That's number one takeaway, is video is of the utmost importance.
YouTube is clearly prioritizing podcast style video, and we believe that it's going to start happening on all channels because some people are taking shortcuts and using AI, but the reality is people want to see authenticity, and AI never feels authentic. It's seeing real people that feels authentic. That's the content that's going to the top already on YouTube.
The article specifically references the omni-channel benefits of video podcasting too. They reference YouTube Shorts as a means of outlet for the content that you're creating on the long-form podcast, but obviously that can be extrapolated to all the other social channels as well. This stat is really just confirming what we've been hearing from our clients and experiencing for ourselves, in that this is a phenomenon that brands need to be a part of in order to stay visible to their customers.
And when you think about the trends, starts with something that's not that mainstream, it becomes a little more mainstream, and then everyone's doing it. And then if you're not doing it, you're left behind. I think that we're still in the beginning stages of where podcasting is. There's a lot more consumer podcasts right now, but from a B2B side, there aren't quite as many companies taking advantage of podcasts as a format. The more companies that take advantage of it now will have more of a hold on this marketing channel in the future. And eventually, if you don't have a podcast, you will be left behind. It's going to become an expectation, just like Facebook pages became an expectation, Instagram pages became an expectation. All of those things are expectations, and now as we continue to build the ecosystem, this is an expectation.
Michael, just share a little bit about what we've been doing for clients and how the program works, like how clients need to, whether we do it or not, but how they need to think about a podcast strategy and how it actually functions as part of their content ecosystem.
Everything starts with the podcast at the center, and it's not just audio only. The podcast is a conversation, a catalytic conversation, we can call it, where there's important topics being discussed. Those important topics then get cut into multiple social media clips. They get cut into a long form video that goes onto YouTube, long form audio that goes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, transcripts can be made from that. They can go into a blog, and then it can also inform your newsletters. Both the transcript, and you can plug in the video components into your newsletter. We're talking about video, audio, social strategy, SEO, blogs, newsletters are all catalyzed just by this one thing that we're doing at the center, which is podcasting.
Yeah, it's really incredible, especially because in order to build brand visibility, you really need to be present across all these different channels. And here's a way where you can do that. Spend an hour of your time recording with a guest. Another style that we do is direct to camera, where if you're an expert, you can share about a particular topic, and very much in the way that we're doing today. And then use that, like Michael said, to drive across all these channels. And if you want to get started with that, there's definitely resources that we can provide as far as advice, consultation, gear recommendations, but we also have a full service video podcast program where we actually handle all of these steps for you. So if you're interested, don't hesitate to reach out at 7wonders.com.